This will be the 5th video in the series, and we'll be talking about how to clean the barrel. So here's the barrel, and again, applying a little bit of break-free to the end of a cotton swab helps to clean up a lot of the carbon fouling and the like. Areas to work on is the slots where the front fork of the bolt slides back and forth. Get that clean. One area where a lot of dirt tends to accumulate is right around the back of the barrel, the breech face. So give that a good scrubbing. A lot of times there will be lead residue and carbon built up on the face of the breech that you'll have to scrape off with something. And again, a toothpick is a good tool. It's not going to scrape the metal and do any damage that might accumulate more dirt. Another area, it's a little hard to see, but there's a slot that the extractor goes into, and you want to keep debris out of that. Scrape that out again with the toothpick. It's a little too small to get a cotton swab in there, but if you can get in with the toothpick and scrape it out, that usually works pretty well. Let me get a little bit more break free here. Other areas to pay attention to: underneath, there'll be a lot of carbon residue built up on the underside in here. And one area to pay particular attention to, you can see this shiny section at the back here. And you want to make sure that's nice and clean, because that's where the top of the slide runs. And you want that to be nice and clean and free from debris and dirt. You'll also frequently find there's a certain amount of carbon fouling built up around the muzzle, and it builds up over time. You sort of get a gray residue that's difficult to clean off, but you can get rid of a lot of it by putting a little bit of break free on a patch and just sort of wiping that area down. So that takes care of the outside of things. The last thing that needs attention is the chamber and the bore. And for that, the best tool for the chamber is to use one of these right angle brushes. And that gets inserted into the chamber. It should go in about as much as the case of a 22, because that's all the longer the chamber is. And basically work it back and forth. That's going to loosen the dirt inside the chamber. There's going to be little shaved bits of lead and grease from the bullet lubricant and a lot of burnt and unburned powder in there that you want to get rid of. So work it back and forth several times and then wiggle it out. Now we've got all this loose debris in there that we want to get rid of. So we'll take one of the cotton patches and then the cleaning cord, and it's got a sharp end that you want to pierce the patch with. Run it down to the end with the button on it, and then insert it in the back of the barrel and pull it through. Now when you do that, you want to be careful that you try to keep the cord centered where it's coming out of the barrel. You don't want to drag it across the edge of the barrel, what's called the crown. Okay, so we got a little bit of dirt out, and if you want, ordinarily modern 22 ammunition is clean enough that that's about all you regularly need. If you want, you can run a wet patch, put some of the CLP on a patch, stab it with the cleaning cord, and then pull it through again. keeping it centered in the bore. And we're still getting a little bit of gray out, but that's probably plenty clean enough. But you don't want to leave a wet bore like that. So take another patch and run that through. This is called dry patching. And pull it out through the middle of the muzzle. And even then, we're still getting a little bit of fouling out, but it doesn't have to be pristine. And that pretty much takes care of cleaning the barrel.